All right, y'all, we back. This part 3. I'm gonna try to let them talk more. It's just hard. It's just hard because it's so.
And the 6% of child abuse, actual child abuse, not the ring you keep talking about that you grabbed onto because you think you got a parachute here.
Yeah, that was a weird thing to grab onto.
That 6% increase in child sexual abuse, is that in Germany or is that a worldwide thing?
It might be in Germany, and in that case,
in
that would be really
Germany.
bad. Those people should definitely face consequences.
Are they molesting kids through the internet?
Do you want me to answer that, or should I just give a bad faith answer to your bad faith question?
Well, you should try to answer it because I don't think you can. Logically, it would be asinine to object.
Yeah, because of course you obviously cannot molest somebody through the internet. Yes.
Ooh, so it's in Germany?
Okay, wait. I'm gonna try to walk you through.
It's in Germany.
Wait.
No,
I would just hold on. Wait. I would just like to.
Instead of going.
In that case, yes, it would be in Germany. But you want me to say yes as if that's some kind of a big fucking win for you, but it's not. It's proving nothing.
It is.
So let me go ahead and explain once again.
Wait. This goes back to the destigmatizing. Your idea is that destigmatizing it, which they did in Germany, specifically so people could get treatment, that is going to lower it, and yet it's going up.
Okay. So let me go ahead.
So how does destigmatizing help?
So first and foremost, I hope that you understand that when I say like destigmatizing helps people seek therapy.
I know what the fuck you mean by that. You don't have to keep saying it.
I hope that you know that when I say that like it can help, that doesn't mean that you're now going to see child sex abuse drop to 0%.
Oh no, I didn't think
because I know you're very stupid and bad faith, so maybe that's the mindset you kind of have. So
I didn't say that, oh my God, it's still at 95%. It fucking went up.
It went up because they busted this massive problem.
No. That has nothing to do with it.
You want to talk about bad faith? Specifically, child molestation. Forget the fucking internet part. The part you just said had to happen in Germany if people are being arrested for touching kids in Germany.
Yeah.
How in the fuck does that going up, not the rest of it, show that your destigmatizing has helped bring down child molestation?
So, okay.
Again, I wouldn't answer.
Yeah, this has been a thing since 2011. So these centers have been up. Like, we just read the article. We just forget when both of them read. We just read both articles on my video. That the centers Hunter is talking about has been up since 2011. The article that Ranting Monkey is talking about with the percentages is from 2022. It was from May. It was from this year. The numbers keep going up. This ain't really working. The only good thing coming out of this, because he wants this destigmatized so bad, is that people who are pedos feel okay going to these centers because they know they have full confidentiality and they not going to jail. Regardless of what they tell them. Because he keeps saying people that haven't done anything. No, you can say that to get into the center. But if you tell them at any point like, hey, I did something, you're not going to jail. You are protected. So even knowing that destigmatization and protection is there, the numbers are still going up. Now, the article we read, which I don't know why he not referenced. He had to have started with that before randomly grabbing onto this. But it literally said, it literally says that the people joining the destigmatization thing, they're happy to be there. That's cool. But he fails to realize that the numbers aren't even staying the same. They're not. That same article, it said the cases are going up because it's becoming less taboo now. So more people are not only unafraid to come forward, but others are doing it because the stigma is being destigmatized. I feel like he had to have read that article because he sounded like he was talking about that first. And then he Googled it and he randomly jumped onto this sex ring article, which has nothing to do with what Ranting Monkey was talking about. Man, whatever.
Answer that either.
I know. Okay, are you really going to make fun of me for like trying to form
I'm
my
absolutely
words
going to make fun of you. You've been a dick since you've been here.
Yeah, I've been a dick because you're a fucking piece of shit. So again,
Says the
once
guy defending pedophiles.
that's what you think I'm saying, Jack, which again is just very, very sad, my friend. Fuck you. But anyway, let me go back to what I was saying a minute ago, okay? So yes, there are still going to be fluctuations in. All right, I'm gonna just mute you guys so I can get my point out and answer. No, I'm gonna just mute you so I can get. I'm trying to answer Monkey's question, but he's not answering it. So, no, he's not answering my he's not letting me answer the question. So should I answer it or not?
Snubberth, I will get all super chats at the end here, bud. I'm gonna get them in a bit.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do them at the end. Sorry, guys.
The stumbling and dead silences speak volumes. Hey, if anybody from his chat would like to talk on my channel next, I'd be happy. I'd be happy to. But so of course there's going to be like fluctuations in child abuse. Again, how many of these individuals who have molested kids were actual pedophiles, and 2, had actually gone through treatment? If you could show me that somebody had gone through treatment and then was molesting at higher rates than prior, you would have a really excellent point.
No, stop. You're moving the fucking goalpost.
Bro, the same article we read literally said that if the people in the program, they can't even determine the success of the program because they can't take the people's in their words at face value. The only thing they're taking at face value is if they said they did something, right? They're taking that at face value because they have to treat that, and they also can't send that person to jail for, like, they can't report them for doing that. But if they sit there and be like, oh yeah, no, I didn't do anything, they can't take their word. There's no success rate on this program that you're fighting for. It's even more weird because at the end of that article we read, so once I ended the last recording, I finished it off. It does say that there are some therapists here in the US and the UK that want to bring it here, and they're struggling because, like, the US and UK, like, nah, we're not about to do that. Y'all tripping. And they're just like, oh, I wish we could bring it here because it would help so many people. But there's no success rate on this program to show that it's helping anybody. The only thing it's really doing is that some people are happy to get up in there because of that confidentiality and you not going to report me to the police clause. That's why they're happy to get up in there. And that's what he wants to destigmatize. So they can feel happy going in there for that issue alone. This is still a weird hill to die on. Like, it's, you could say they did something or didn't do something. You still a pedo at the end of the day. Even the guy in the article that was getting questioned said he's still a pedo because he has a pedo mindset. He said that. The therapist said that to him. He said he could call himself that now without feeling bad in the mirror. We read that.
It's because your thing is the destigmatization so they can go to therapy.
Yes.
Which is what happened in Germany.
Yes, but you don't know if the people who have abused are...
Let me finish.
Okay.
You're saying that if you destigmatize it, which was done in Germany, then that will help and get it down. And then you're trying to go, oh, wait, but they didn't go through therapy. Your point wasn't that they go through therapy. Your point was getting them in there in the first place, which isn't happening.
You don't know that.
6% increase.
Yeah, but we don't, again, these people might not be interested in seeking therapy. They might be sick fucking child molesters that just want to take advantage of power dynamics. Those people are criminals.
So we destigmatize it and the numbers go up and it's like, well, fuck it. Those are just people who don't want therapy.
I'm curious.
No, what it is that when you destigmatize it, you see people that actually want that treatment more likely to seek that treatment. And then on top of that, we now have evidence that once they've undergone that treatment, it really lowers their likelihood of actually committing an offense.
We don't have evidence of that.
Go ahead, Jack.
How
we don't have evidence of
to go
that.
to treatment other than this?
Exactly. Where's the evidence that Germany has successfully destigmatized it? We just read a whole article where they can't even, those programs, those centers, multiple centers have been going up since 2011. People have been going in there and they can't even give you a success rate because they don't even trust the people that's in there what's telling them if they're doing stuff or not. It's like
this generalized destigmatizing that you've kind of alluded to, but never given specifics. How are you going to get them to go?
Wait, so when I say destigmatize, again, like, I hope you guys know that I don't mean like, hey, I hope that every human in Germany is like, yeah, being a pedo is dope. Like, no, what I'm saying is...
I'm not talking about Germany, I'm talking about the United States.
So what...
You said you want to destigmatize
Yeah,
it.
I can answer. Sure.
Okay.
So by destigmatizing, some of it starts with just education, actually. So if we had better education just on the fact that, like, the differences between an actual, like, abuser and a child molester and pedophile, that alone would be able to help. So, for example, if we kind of cut this crap with a pedophile or pedophile being used synonymously with child abuser, that would go a long way alone in reducing stigma. Same way you wouldn't associate schizophrenic with psychopathic killer, right? So I think that that would definitely help as well. But I'm not saying like let everybody, or I hope that like broad society is just like A-okay with it. And again, like we'd have to look at how stigmatized is general society against pedophiles in Germany right now, right? Why did that uptick happen? These are all things that I'm trying to look up while I'm also having this conversation with you.
Do you live in Germany? Because I'm asking you specifically about the United States.
I answered
where I thought you lived.
Okay, I answered the question about the United States thing, but I'm also trying to generally deal with the argument that Monkey made a minute ago in regards to the Germany thing. Could I also answer one question? Somebody, I'm not lumping you in with your chat. I have chat on screen, and somebody asked, Hunter, should we destigmatize rape and murder? Absolutely not. Rape and murder hurt people. Simply having a sexual attraction that you've not acted on has not hurt anybody.
Wow. But couldn't you say...
Once again, such a weird hill to die on. We don't want to destigmatize rape and murder because that hurts people. Child ARPing doesn't. I know his whole thing is like, it's not for the people that are ARPing children. It's for the people that haven't done anything yet. How do you know they haven't done anything yet? Because there's no active case and legal this and legal that. Right, but that doesn't mean they didn't do something. Now, the article we did read, it was about a guy. I skimmed through it, but the guy that went claimed he never did anything. He hated having these thoughts, but then also came out and said that he did plan to do things 3 times. And then he realized at 12 he had this weird sexual attraction to young girls. And he couldn't shake it. And he said he planned 3 times to do things, but he swear he didn't do them. Mind you, this is also the guy that's going to the centers where the therapists at the centers don't even take their word for 100%, so we can't even get a success rate to see if the center is working or not. If it's actually suppressing their thoughts or not.
Say the same thing that you're arguing right now. I mean, that if somebody wants to rape somebody, they should just go get therapy. Shouldn't we destigmatize that?
No, because there doesn't currently exist a stigma to the extent that it's like deterring people from
there's
seeking
no stigma
therapy.
Against rapists?
No, there are, but the stigma against rapists is not nearly to the same extent, unfortunately, as it is with pedophilia.
I'd really like
We're
you to
talking
answer
about,
that.
but do you recognize the difference between somebody that's actually committed an act and somebody that hasn't, right? Like,
we understand that. I know you keep trying to throw that out there like it's a shield, but it's not. How do you incentivize these people to go get therapy other than this broad destigmatization to the point where it's just to get them into therapy? How do you get them in there?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not advocating for a policy here. I'm advocating.
Yeah, that's the video.
For the general like attitude of just having a better understanding in regards to what it even means to be a pedophile and how having those attractions can be, or those attractions don't need to necessarily lead to harm and they can be prevented.
In order to achieve what you're suggesting, there has to be something. You can't just go step 1 destigmatization, step 2 question mark, step 3 profit, like the underwear gnomes. You have to have some sort of idea of a plan to execute. You've read a bunch of these studies, right?
So are you actually asking me?
He didn't read the studies. First of all, we read whatever he had up on one of these screens where it literally explained the issues that people have, which is why it needs to be destigmatized, which is the same issues regular people have with therapy. The affordability, finding a competent therapist, confidentiality, the social and legal consequences. How do I know so much about this? And this is my first time watching any of this crap. And all I did was read 3 articles, and yet he has all these studies, and he can't even tell you nothing. It's like, I told y'all, he reads like the first 1 or 2 sentences, and then just, that's it. Like, I could prove my point with this, Boy, this is such a weird hill. You weird, bro. You weird.
To like present like my full thought out policy decision on this, because that's not what I that's not what I was advocating for. I was just talking about how the current stigma that exists specifically in the United States seems to be deterring people from seeking treatment, and that if treatment has been generally shown to be effective in reducing the likelihood that children are abused, I feel like we would probably be in favor of more people who have not yet harmed children getting to therapy so that they don't harm children.
Yeah, but you have to have some idea of how to accomplish that, some sort of general idea of how to get people to go to therapy. Otherwise, that's just, like, hey, man, murder's bad. We should talk to murderers before they murder. That doesn't achieve anything. That's just a nebulous thought concept. Like, maybe we're all in a dream right now, man. That's just some vague hippie shit. So do you have any idea of how to get people that have these attractions into the therapy office, so that they can seek this treatment that you're advocating?
Sure. Well, again, just to reiterate what I've already said, lowering the stigma does help in that. But also there's another thing. I don't know if they did this in Germany or if they did this in another agent. This may have been the Czech Republic, actually. But they've also had, like, they have advertisements that go out on TV, unironically, that are like, hey, if you have these attractions, then you can seek help. Here's where you can go to get confidential help. We want to help you, don't hurt people, whatever the fuck. Like, even that is a way that could encourage people to go to therapy. I mean, how do you get anybody into therapy, right? We're not going to be able to force somebody, but ideally, if you have a healthy degree of stigma and there's a decent understanding that being a pedophile is not necessarily the same as abusing a child, that alone is going to lead to more people seeking therapy, at least based on the study that I read you a minute ago.
Okay, yeah, I'm not being antagonistic. I'm just trying to understand your position here.
I'm fine. I wasn't trying to be antagonistic with you either. I was just trying to answer.
Okay, thank you.
I'm being purely antagonistic.
I know you are. Hang on, I'm playing good cop here. So, do you think that pedophiles are non-offending pedophiles, or not offending people who are attracted to children, whatever you want?
Right, we gotta separate it for him, because he's separating it, even though he would never let a non-offending one watch his kids. But you gotta separate it, or else you're an idiot, according to him.
What I call it. Do you think they would be concerned about the stigma around going to therapy?
Oh yeah, like right now there's even stigma within the medical professions. Even that can
I'm not
contribute
talking
to it,
about specifically them being pedophiles. I mean, there is a stigma around anyone going to therapy that still lingers from like the 70s and 80s. Where like, oh, so you're crazy,
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, well, I mean, maybe that would be like a secondary thing, like, continue to reduce the stigma around just going to therapy, because I agree there's nothing wrong with going to therapy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand how you're going to get people through the door, So yeah, I was just exploring that. That's what
Someone said wood chipper therapy works wonders. I would be curious to know if that individual would be interested in killing people for bad thoughts, if they'd like to be the thought police.
What's up. Jack, in Germany, when they did it, they did ads on the TV. It brought like 300 people into some clinic. Some who traveled, it was like 250, and like 33 had traveled from 200 kilometers away or whatever it is. So I would guess that would be the only way you really could.
Well, my
that would
thinking
probably
on this
help.
is the natural extrapolation would be at some point, if this were to be destigmatized, the pendulum could swing back, and they would use the therapy notes to create a registry of potential sex offenders. Wouldn't that be a concern for these non-offenders? But we've seen this.
Well,
with
that's
red
part of the
flag
problem right now. Is like if you're a non-offender, then you're right. They are oftentimes reported anyway, or put on like some kind of a watch list.
See, I saw you say that on your video too.
I actually just saw a really good comment. I'm trying not to stop this much because I've been like, this is probably gonna take like 5 parts or something. But this comment right here from Faithless, it says, "We destigmatize weed and drug use. How did that go? Did drug use go down? No, drug use stayed about the same or went up." I mean, but that's I mean, they did the same thing if you want to think about it. Alcohol and all that. Honestly, a lot of stuff they tried to destigmatize. Just nothing really went well with that, like, at all. So he's really like pushing it. Like I said, we read the article. The only thing that's gonna get pedos going to therapy, the main two things that Germany pointed out was letting them know about the confidentiality, and that like whatever they say in therapy, as long as they don't have like active cases going on, whatever they say in therapy, they're not getting reported. Which lets me know that you could do something at that point. Like, you could be non-offending going in, or lying about being a non-offender going in, and then be like, yeah, I did something, couldn't help it, you're not going to jail. That's what they want. And I think that's pretty messed up, because it's like, you need to go to jail and be punished. You can't be out here walking free if you're doing stuff. And I'm pretty sure that's also part of them cases going up, because they said it made it less taboo and everything.
Too, and what you're talking about is the duty to warn and the duty to protect.
Right.
And in those cases, they only have to report if they think somebody's in imminent danger of being touched.
In America,
HIPAA laws specifically state that unless they say they're going to commit a crime,
right,
they don't get reported. So
okay, yeah, no, I understand that. The thing is, though, is that a lot of the times, I think even those lines are kind of blurred, because if somebody admits that they are a pedophile, then that alone will oftentimes trigger this sort of response that it's like, oh, then someone's in imminent danger. But that's a little bit of a lesser point. I'm not as interested in getting into the nitty gritty with that one, to be honest, because what I really am ultimately advocating for here is just reducing the stigma enough so that they're more comfortable seeking therapy. That we can deal with the stigma within medical fields another time. Like, that's...
I want to ask a question, and I'm not sure, this isn't a gotcha or anything. This is, I was reading all of the literature that I took every study that you put up on your video and read it all. And I'm curious, do you think pedophilia is a sexual orientation?
No, right now it's believed to be a paraphilia.
Several of the reports you used did, including the one that you kept tweeting out.
Yeah, some of them do. Some of them do.
I told you he didn't read nothing. Because in one of them we read, it said it was a orientation. I told y'all he didn't read his own stuff. Now that the dude brought it up, now he's like, oh yeah, a couple of them did. Bruh.
Do make that comparison. It's kind of inconclusive right now, because I've done some research on that too. Some will say it's a sexual orientation. Others will say it's paraphilia. But right now it seems to be better understood that it's paraphilia and not, in fact, a sexual orientation.
If that changes, however, and the destigmatization goes through, would it be possible you'll see a push for adult-child relationships? Is that something you worry about by destigmatizing this?
Well, if anybody was pushing for that, I would definitely be worried about that. But I don't think that that's going to lead to that. I think that that's kind of getting into slippery slope territory. Like,
well,
part of the reason,
always unforeseen consequences.
That's true, but part of the reason, like, for, say, like, recognizing that gay people have a sexual orientation is that two adult gay people being together in a consensual relationship does no harm. But an adult and a child does harm. We have literature that demonstrates this.
Well, we also are now allowing children as young as 12 and 13 to alter their bodies permanently.
True.
So,
okay, well, we can have a convo about the trans thing another time, but I mean, we should probably stick on the subject.
That there is a destigmatization that can carry over to youths.
Okay.
I'm using that as an example. I'm not trying to get into the trans conversation. I'm just saying they're allowing young people to make life decisions. Would that also be something that they could advocate for?
That is true. They are allowing children as young as 12 to, like, transition if they want to. And in a lot of places, you do not even need parental consent anymore to get it done. I'm not making this up. There's stories from Canada, Atlanta. I think it was Atlanta. If not, it's in Georgia and Chicago. And Ohio. Yeah, there's a lot. There's actually a couple stories about this. But there's stories where, and I was shocked about the Ohio one because we're a red state. So it's like, how did that happen? But yeah, a lot of these hospitals and the government, because they're making money off the kids. So yeah, it's turned into like, these people don't even need parental consent to do whatever they want to do now to their bodies. And that's a big major decision to make. And they're really trying to destigmatize all of that. So I get what they're saying with all of this being a slippery slope leading into other things, which is, which I don't know why he wants to die on this hill. It's weird. It's so weird.
Could you ask that last question again? I'm sorry.
So if we destigmatize adult relationships with children, or the attraction to it, isn't there the possibility that they could carry this over the same way the transitioning has, where it's getting younger and younger, so it's becoming more socially acceptable for that to happen?
No, because again, the difference here is that there's medical literature that supports the fact that adults and children being together in a sexual relationship is damaging and it is a bad thing to be done because it literally worsens the health of that child. Whereas you have medical literature that shows that children who suffer from, say, gender dysphoria and are undergoing treatment like puberty blockers, which, by the way, are not permanent, that
Puberty blockers is basically chemical castration pills, and the effects are everlasting. If you start taking at something at 14, right, to block puberty from happening, that's what this is. And all of a sudden at 21 or 22, you're like, I don't want to take this anymore. Your body is like
betters their mental well-being. So it's really ultimately
it doesn't. We don't have any long-term study to coincide with what you're saying. That ain't even the discussion right now. I'm sorry, y'all. That ain't even the discussion right now. We just gonna keep it going.
What the medical literature is saying here.
So what if the medical literature changes?
Well, I don't know. Like the medical literature is pretty fucking clear that no, adults and children shouldn't be together.
The medical literature was very clear that homosexuality was a mental disorder not that long ago.
So
it can. The point being that it can change and be wrong. You don't see that there's a possibility for things to change drastically?
Well, the fact that it used to be called a mental illness but isn't anymore is indicative of the fact that science moves us towards more reasonable and rational conclusions, no? Like, yeah, at one point we called it a mental illness. Now we recognize that's bullshit, not true.
So, let's say some activists get in the medical field and start peer reviewing each other's papers and just rubber stamping them. Is it possible that they could help advocate for relations with children?
If you think that's how peer review works, then I think that you should look into that a little
bit
more.
Oh, really? You should look up the conceptual penis.
Let me ask you this.
What?
Is that what you have?
None of the studies that you provided actually showed that there's a reduction in harm to children. It's all about the stigmatization and whether or not some people will go to therapy.
Can I walk you through this, sort of where I'm coming to this conclusion? So, like, remember the one thing I brought up about Germany, where the people who specifically had undergone the treatment of therapy and of the libido-reducing drugs and SSRIs, how they showed way more promising results, and that although it was still small, it's still in its preliminary phase for sure, it's demonstrating that thus far this is helping these people not abuse children. So my thought process is pretty simple.
Word.
My thought process is no, they're in therapy. And by the way, some of that therapy actually, at least in Germany, also includes surveillance, which I think would also probably be a pretty good idea, honestly.
That would probably be a violation of their rights.
Does it?
In the United States.
Does it? Because that's not what that article said.
The United States, you're right. I'm not sure. I would have to look into like the actual logistics here. But
wait.
Far as what happens in Germany, that's kind of what it is. It's demonstrating that there are promising results thus far with people who have these attractions but want help and then not acting on those attractions. So my thought.
Promising results. The article literally said they can't even determine the success of it. They don't know if it's successful or not. So what are the results? What do you... Is he taking it the fact that, like, people are just going? Because if they're being fixed or not, that's not... Like, the dude in the thing said he was never going to be fixed.
Thought process is really simple. We have studies showing that stigma prevents people with these attractions from getting therapy. I read you one specifically that demonstrates this empirically. So we have that one. That's one. Then we have the fact and the study that shows that when they go through the proper treatment, it lowers their likelihood of committing atrocities against children. So therefore,
No.
if they're able to seek therapy and
not
get
what
that
that said.
therapy, it should benefit in reducing child rape.
You're going off their word that they're not touching kids. Even in surveillance, they're not surveilling them 24/7. They're not putting a body camera on them.
That
So you're
article
saying
said they don't do surveillance.
This is what the
and they
evidence
don't even
suggests,
take
but
their
they
word.
probably just didn't see where the evidence was wrong?
Well, it's amazing
Considering-
how many
wait,
people
Jack.
will lie.
Considering that it is estimated that only 3% of child molestation
What's up,
is
Trunks?
even found in the United States, yes, I would suggest that they're fucking lying.
Well, in Germany they have different laws that make it so that unless you've actually harmed a child, just confessing that you are in fact a pedophile is completely confidential, won't get you reported or anything. So I
but
mean,
you're going based on their word.
What he just said, they have the confidentiality where if you've actually done something, you won't get reported. So he did read. I don't think he read all of that article. Sorry, y'all. My cat Trunks is like, he keeps trying to get in here. So it looks like he read a piece of it. Cause bro, if you read all of it, it's not successful. They can't even take them people's words for heart. All right, how many minutes we got left? So we're very close to the end of this. I'm gonna end this part here, and part 4 should end it. But I'll see y'all in what hopefully should be the last part.